What is up, everybody? It's me, Duke Farley, back at it again here on Lost at Sea, and I am unfortunately joined this morning by the second person eliminated from Ascendance Live Season 4. I'm here with Alex. Alex, how are you? How have things been since, you got out of the Ascendance 4 house?
Hey, how's it going? Obviously the vote out was very tough for me, and having to relive it again wasn't the easiest thing to go through. But I'm happy to be here and talking about it.
Yeah, so having to relive it, watch the episode back, when you did that, was there anything that stood out to you like, oh, wow, that was not what I thought, or okay, anything in particular that stood out from watching the episode back?
Um, no, I don't think so. I think I kind of got a feeling what was going on at the time. Which kind of led to kind of my frustration with it. But no, I don't think I really picked up anything new. It was definitely yeah, just seeing it all play out, and I've kind of like replayed in my head like a lot since the game played, and didn't see any big surprises.
Yeah. Were you shocked that something that I talked about after the episode with Jolie on Thursday night was back to back newbies leaving in duos that had multiple newbies. Like the counter name was a veteran that came back to play, and the newbie went home in both of those situations. Were
Yeah.
you were you
Uh,
surprised at that?
No. Well, two things. One, I feel like it was a big advantage for the players who played before to really jump back into that role. And I know, like for Michael, it's been a long time since he played, but he's able to immediately go into game mode. And I felt like, at least for me, like it was my very first vote, and I think I was a little like deer in the headlights in the situation. So I think the Tonys had the advantage in that sense. But then I definitely felt like there was a sense of the Tonys wanting to keep each other safe. And I mean on my so yeah on my vote, I mean I'll get into it a little bit, but so I felt like in my vote the women wanted to keep each other safe. They said it from the get go. And then the only other guys on my tribe were Christopher, Adam, and Michael.
Yeah.
And they were all the Tony's and all people who were voted out kind of early in the seasons. So I definitely felt like I was put like in a bad spot, like trying to convince people to take out over Tony.
Right. Um, we see Adam gets two votes in your vote out, and people want, Chris throws a vote on Adam, and Matt votes for Adam. Was there ever any hint of people wanting Adam out? Because it seems like watching the episode back, people were open to that.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about if I should have tried to push Adam's name, and Christopher did come to me and said that he heard that Adam's name was out there and that was a possible option. But for my end, I was trying to count like how many votes I can get against Michael, and I felt like Adam was my best bet to try and take out Michael. And I mean, I still think he would have been the closest one to flip. So at the time, I didn't want it to come out to say I was targeting Adam and potentially lose the one vote I might have.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, that might have been the best move at the time.
You say in your like exit from the game that you were frustrated and kind of disappointed at Adam for not backing you up. Um, Seeing the episode and seeing his perspective, do you still feel that way now?
Um, I mean, to be honest, I never really felt like when I got voted out, I was pissed, and I kind of felt just kind of rejected by the cast. But I felt like I needed to kind of blame someone, and Adam was the one that kind of like shook my hand and said he wouldn't vote for me. So I kind of focused on Adam, but I mean I don't really blame him. I mean if I had a situation where the numbers are going one way, I mean you should jump on that. It's just basic gameplay. I wish he would have given me more of a heads up on what he was thinking. But it is what it is.
Is what it is, yeah. And the other thing that I wanted to ask was you actually, during the course of strategizing, you and Michael had a conversation kind of like, yo, we know that we're going for each other. Just honestly, keep up the good work and good luck. Was there ever a point where you were like, why are we going for each other? Why don't we just band together here?
No, because I mean, I had a couple talks, but they're all in big groups. And then it was brought to me that, oh, it's right now it's between you and Michael. And people tell me that Michael was dropping my name a lot. So at that point, I didn't think I could count on Michael. And I felt like if I went to Michael and said, "Hey, let's game again. Let's get Christopher. Let's get Adam," I think he would have just used it against me. And I mean, Michael's someone I like, but I mean, yeah, he's playing the game, and I was really worried about bringing up any other name and using it and have it being used as ammunition against me. In hindsight, if I could have got Michael on board or something, but it was tough because I don't think he would have voted out any with Tony at that point. So I don't really think there was an option to really work with him.
You mentioned like, and this was brought up in the first vote out with Blaker too. You mentioned the women not wanting to vote out a woman. Does
Mm-hmm.
anybody, was anybody just, were you ever like, well, I mean, why? Why can't we do that?
So I don't remember if this was in the episode, but like the first conversation I had, I was in a big group with I think most of the women that were on the vote, and I think it was me, Adam, and they basically said, "Hey, we don't want to vote a woman out." And at that point, like they were all on board with that, and I didn't think they were going to move from that. Um, I did like talk to the other guys, say, "Hey, maybe we should make a move against them," but they didn't really want to make it like a gender thing, men versus women. But I mean, I felt like by saying they're not voting at women, they're handicapping us from the beginning and making the choices very limited, which kind of felt like put me in kind of a bad situation.
Yeah, because it's only a matter of time where it's like, okay, are we just gonna let, the 7 or 8 women just go to the final 8 and that's how the game's played? But I understand that it's a tough,
At
because
the
they're
time,
outnumbered.
I didn't really feel like that they were going to like go final 8 and run the game, but it was just more of a it was more of they didn't want a woman to be one of the very first votes. So, and I totally understand that. I mean, obviously in reality shows, there's a lot of history of like women getting picked off early, but at the same time, like I feel like it limits the strategy so much, and I feel like, and I mean, I feel like I don't know, it gave a certain group a lot of power. And I feel like Taisha and Erica both had very past relations with Michael. They were close with Michael, and then I think they were able to. And I think most of the women kind of gravitated towards the two of them. So I definitely felt like they were kind of in the power position in this vote.
Yeah. Um, the other thing that I wanted to ask was there was a point where you went on the menage a trois with Michael and Eli.
Mm-hmm.
Was that there was multiple confessionals where it's like, you guys were like, why are we not making an alliance? Blah blah blah. Did you ever try to fall back on that at all throughout the game with like, yo, let's vote together, like we had the wine and everything?
Mm-hmm. Um, no, I mean Eli was someone I wanted to work with. But then I mean me and Michael, I played his 1984 game, and I was definitely worried coming in that people were going to connect us. And like when we went on that Menaza tour, he was immediately talking about his 1984 game, and like that kind of. And I tried to like hide the fact that I mean I played his game and played it pretty well, and I didn't really want people to link me and Michael. I think he felt the same way, which might be why he threw my name out so soon. But yeah, and I think it's unfortunate because this season, the Menage Trois, we didn't get to pick out people Instead, we were put together, and Michael was probably the last person I wanted to go on that with. No offense to him, but like just because I know him and I've played with it. Oh, I haven't played with him, but I played his game, and I didn't want us to be linked.
Yeah. And the only other thing that I'll add or ask you about this specific vote, well, two things. One, you know, the challenge itself only lasted 34 seconds. We saw the little thing on the screen, time elapsed. But you know, your team lost because Chris just literally dropped the ball. So was that ever like something like, hey, we're all here because Chris dropped the ball, guys?
No, I didn't really hear anyone talk about that, and I felt. And again, in hindsight, I think I would have tried to put more votes on Christopher, but I felt like he was very connected. I mean, he played season two. I believe he was on production season three, so he knew a lot of people. And I didn't really think I was in a position to throw his name out at that point.
Yeah. How about your, duo partner, Chris G? Did you did you really appreciate him, like trying to help you out throughout the process once he, got wind that your name was out there? Seems like a
Yeah,
pretty big motivating guy.
yeah, for sure. And like, I mean, he really came to me and kind of even not even with other people, just kind of tried to hype me up. And I really appreciate, and that's one reason I picked him as a duo. I mean, we've played together before, and I know he's that kind of he's very good socially, and he's a good motivator. He's a good leader. He has good leadership qualities, and it didn't mean a lot that he was in my corner. I mean, it would have been very easy for him to say, "I'm not in this vote. I'm not worrying about it. I'll move on if he's fine." But he really stepped up, and I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, that was cool. That was fun to watch. Um, Alex, is there anything else that happened? Doesn't even have to be about the game, but something that maybe you really enjoyed throughout the whole process?
I mean, I think Ascendance is such like a great game. It's a game I've been wanting to play for a while, but it definitely left such like a bitter feeling. Just like you force chance up for a vote, and you get voted out like fairly easily. Um, yeah, it definitely left like a very bitter taste in my mouth. Um, yeah. Anything else I want to add is I mean, I think so. For a while, I was very down on my game and felt like I didn't do enough. I wasn't social enough. I didn't make the right moves. But like really watching it back, I I, I feel better about it because I feel like I was put in a bad situation. I think like the people that were on the other side of that vote, I think I would have had better connections with. Um, I was planning to work with Josh Duenas a lot. I wanted to work with Billy. I wanted to work with Taylor, and I think those kind of connections would have helped me more than the tribe I got. Um, again, like I like everyone. Um, yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like, from the jump of the strategizing portion, the cards were stacked against you here just because of past connections, three other dudes that were eligible to be voted were returnees that were well connected, and nobody wanted to vote out women early on. So kind of tough.
yeah, and then also like so the thing with Stacy is that I mean me and Stacy are pretty close. Like we live in the same city. We hang out here and there, and she's very famous for not wanting to play with people she knows. So I felt immediately when I saw her in the cast, I knew that if it came to it, she would probably vote me out.
Yeah. Yeah, she's been doing that. She mentioned that in her preseason interview with me. It's something that stood out. So um
And I love Stacey. And honestly, like looking back, I'm not mad at anyone. I just wish I would have had a chance to really play the game.
yeah. Um but here's the thing, there's always an opportunity to play again. And hopefully you get that shot. But it's been awesome getting to chat with you, and hopefully we can do it again in the future, man.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, I'm a huge Ascendance fan. I'm gonna be watching every season, and I'll be around the community.
Perfect.